Welcome once again for today's webinar topic about agile practices in traditional project management. Uh, I think one of very interesting topics, very relevant topics, okay, for a lot of people. This is a question which a lot of people ask me: what is traditional? What is agile projects? Can we use agile in the way we do projects? So I'm going to touch upon a lot of things here. Okay, for people who do not know me, my name is Ashish Sadekar, and okay, I am one of the directors and the founding members in ProThoughts, and ProThoughts is only focused deep into project management. So thank you once again, everyone, for taking out time and joining the webinar. A little ground rules as a good project manager. Uh, Now, if you have any questions, just go to the questions panel, raise your hand. Okay, there are icons there, and type your question, and no, I will be happy to answer the questions. You can interrupt me at any point of time that you wish to, and I will answer your questions. So let's have a little more interactive session, because in project management there is nothing right or wrong. Okay, so I'm going to start the session now. Okay, any questions? Please raise your hand. By the way, my first question to all of you: can you hear and see the screens? Just raise the hand, okay, or type in the question thing that or saying yes. Okay, just a quick thing. If you say that, okay, yes, okay, thank you, Kruti, thank you, Prakash. Okay, thank you, Janardhan. Thank you. Okay, I guess then you can, fair enough. You can read and hear me loud and clear. Great. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so let's start our webinar. So I'm going to first talk a little about introduction, a little about setting the context. What is agile? Why agile now is a new buzzword? Okay, what do you mean by agile? What is this methodology of agile? And what is this called traditional project management? So I'm going to talk about some key differences and a very top high level differences, and then I'm going to talk about approach which has been practically implemented. And in fact, I had written a paper on this approach of introducing agile practices in traditional project management, and my paper was in fact selected by PMI. Okay, it's there on the PMI website. Okay, there are a lot of technical papers, so this is one paper which was selected, and I was invited as a speaker to talk on this topic, okay, called hybrid approach. This was 7 years back, so things have definitely changed. At that point of time, agile was not in vogue like it is today, but certainly there were talks about agile. Today, agile has become a new buzzword, okay, and we have witnessing a lot of demand in agile certifications. Okay, so this is what we are going to cover today in our webinar. So let's start, okay, on our webinar. Before I start, just a little introduction. It's a good day for us today at ProThoughts. We have been featured in yourstory.com. It's one of the best digital platforms, and our story has been published. It has been featured in yourstory.com. We are here for almost 4 years and really relish the journey that we have been doing. We are having two offices, Mumbai and Pune, and we operate in African, Middle East, and Asia regions, not only India, and have so far around 4,000 customers, and we are growing. Okay, we have also been featured by Economic Times as well. Okay, so ProThoughts is basically focused on learning services. So we give different learning services like classroom, online, e-learning, which is self-paced learning, corporate learnings. We develop content for corporates, as well as we give project management software for our different industries, and we also do consulting services. We have recently started with content management website called talkprojectmanagement.com. Right. So now I want to go to the interesting bit about Agile. Okay. So Agile, I don't know how many of you know. Many people say Agile started in 2001 with the Agile Manifesto, where 17 developers, came together in a resort in USA, Utah, and then made the Agile methodology. So if you just scratch the internet, you will understand that agile methods, which are typically incremental or iterative. When I say incremental, means adding one functionality, at a time, or iterative is doing the same thing again and again, till it is right. This kind of methods were developed as early as 1957, the same time when scientific methods were evolved. Where PMP, which is the more popular methodology, where people equate with traditional project management, also came into existence around the same time. Okay, project management, why it evolved during that period, 1950s, because a lot of development in terms of you know astronauts, a lot of big programs were initiated by Russia and USA, particularly USA, and therefore to manage them, a lot of scientific methods, so Gantt charts, critical path, they were evolved during PERT, they were evolved during this time. Okay, um, generally, Agile has been associated with software development so far, but now they are extending it beyond the different, beyond the software industry. Okay, so during the 1980s, 1990s, particularly, if I say 1990s would be a better era, because 1980s is more of a quality era, which I call now personally. 1990s where was the era where a lot of this software, boom happened. And therefore a lot of this coding and software projects happened. And there the lightweight software development methods took place, because in that traditional project management methodologies, what used to happen is that you had to develop the entire software, and then there was a time lag, or there were a lot of rejections, which happened in a lot of big companies like Boeing and everywhere. So this, no this led to this lightweight software development methods, and there is no one single method, there are many methods about this lightweight software method. So agile is not one method. Agile is a family of methodologies. So when I use the word agile, it just means adaptive or iterative or incremental. That's what is agile. Agile doesn't mean scrum. Agile, I will come to that. So agile is a family, of different methodologies. So after this 1990s, this, in response to that, the lot of this methodology which was used in software development, this 17 software developers met at a resort, and published the manifesto for agile software. So it is originated in 2001 as a manifesto, but it has been there for quite some time. So, after this, uh, the agile has actually, if you ask me, people say it has increased between 2010 to 2015, where no one of the key areas is because of the rapid changing of the environment as well. Okay, today's environment has become more dynamic than a era before 2000. Okay, where okay, change is a constant phenomena. Traditional methodologies also have change management. Okay, changes are inevitable in a project, be it any project, be it a pyramid project in our earlier era or today's 2018 project. Okay, so willingness to change and rapid feedback turned out to be the key features of this moment. So I'm going to come with the different agile methodologies. And these are the most popular methodology in agile is the Scrum methodology. Estimated 56% people who use agile use Scrum. So it's quite popular than other methodologies. Kanban is not typically agile, but it has put it in the agile family. Okay, but all Kanban is not typically agile, which was earlier because it was not software related. It is more coming from a manufacturing setup, but these are all agile methodologies. Okay, so uh, when I talk about what is agile, okay, no, people say it is more of a mindset. Okay, people who are practicing agile from the audience which you are attending, okay, it is more of a mindset. Okay, the way you approach agile. Okay, no, just doing agile doesn't help. Having the right mindset, doing the task doesn't help. Why you're doing that? Okay, why I should do a scrum meeting, why I should actually not plan. You need to understand that to practice agile, because if you do not do that, agile is a big failure. In fact, there are more failures in agile methodologies than in our traditional methodologies, because the main reason is not having the mindset. Okay, the Scrum. Okay, the word Scrum has come from a rugby game. I know I didn't watch rugby, so but I read about this, and uh, rugby game. Okay, people when they start a game, they stand in a queue. Both the teams stand opposite to each other in the middle of the ground in a queue. Okay. And when one point is over, when the ball is thrown out of the stadium or a goal is made, they again come back to the center in a queue and restart the game. Okay, this is called, this word for queuing up, okay, one after the other and restart, is called scrummage, and that's where the scrum word has been originated. So it's not passing the baton like in a waterfall model from one sequential, from requirements to design, or one person to another. It's rather okay like a rugby game, coming back to the same original point, discussing again, doing the same thing till you get right. Right. So no, today agile is being practiced much beyond software industries. Okay, I personally believe project management is not industry specific but industry agnostic. So you, if you are a project manager, ideally you can manage any project in any domain. Okay, the project management discipline, that knowledge you should have. So now agile has been okay accepted even in a construction industry. So I'm going to talk about the various examples as well. So agile is far reaching out in different domains, different industry. In fact, at ProThoughts, we practice agile, okay, for doing some of our activities. So you can call agile practices in traditional project management, you can call that, because we have started adopting certain things for agile, and it has started working for us. So I'm going to talk about that as well. But before that, I wanted to give a kind of heads up on what is agile. And I'm not going to go through the Agile Manifesto here, because this is not, okay, the idea of today's discussion. But no, people who do not know Agile, okay, Agile, okay, talks about, okay, that left bold things are more important than the right things. Okay, that doesn't mean that the right things, process and tools, Agile doesn't say that processes and tools are not important, but they say, okay, individuals and interactions along in the team are more important because they do the project. Okay, it's not saying that you ignore or avoid the processes are necessary, but the focus should be on the individual, to empower the individual, to actually give him the lot of resources to work in a project, rather than, okay, having focus on following a process. Okay, so this is what Agile Manifesto says. So there are four values. These are the four values, and there are 12 principles in Agile Manifesto, which these people came together in 2001 to do that. Okay, so it is just saying that the items of the left are valued more than the items on the right. Okay, so this is about the Agile Manifesto. So, like I said, Agile is a methodology, okay, which means that it is not specifically saying that you should do a thing in a particular way. Okay, what it means is that you should be adaptive, okay, to things happening. Okay, you cannot have a fixed, rigid mindset. So, like right from the 1957 till 2001, and even beyond that, there were already different methodologies which have been practiced on this philosophy. The most popular is the Scrum methodology. Okay, uh, so it is a iterative methodology, and there are little differences in every methodology, but a Scrum typically has shorter plans to execute. We call it, okay, 2 to 4 weeks. We call it a sprint. That kind of a project is called a sprint project, okay, which has a duration of 2 to 4 weeks, and the team is the decision maker, accountable. In this process, unlike say in a traditional project manager where the project manager is the accountable person. So in a sprint, the team chooses, okay, from the product backlog. Okay, the team chooses from the one sec, sorry, the team chooses from the product backlog, okay, what are the features that I can do in this particular 2 to 4 weeks. And of course, the product owner, which is handles the product backlog, says that which feature is the most important. He does consult the team as well, but the product owner, along with the customers, okay, he's a representative of the customer, suggests that which features are the most important. There are various methods to choose a feature, which features, how to rank the priorities. The team chooses the feature, and then they develop a feature or features which are called user stories. So user stories will have number of features, and then they develop, and then they go in iterative, show it to the product owner. If they like it, okay, no, it is called done, etc. So this is a iterative method, okay, and there are different things that, okay, you reflect on during the entire process. Like for example, every day in this 2 to 4 weeks, you have a daily Scrum meeting, a stand-up 15 minutes meeting, not more than that. Okay, and no, you have reviews at the end, which are very important. Okay, so a complete release can make up of, 10 different sprints, for example. So after every sprint, there is a review, there is retrospective, so that things can be improved as you go ahead. So this is one method of Scrum, the most popular method. Okay, the other method of Scrum is extreme programming. Okay, typically related to the software development, and here the sprint is called iteration. So you can just see the different kind of terminologies that they use, and there are different ways. There are little differences that you have between different methodologies, but in, for example, in extreme programming, they advocate doing a pair programming there, where one is the driver, the other actually tests, etc. So there are different methodologies. Okay, my idea today is not to go into the methodologies. I think we can have a different webinar to discover different methodologies of agile. Other Japanese manufacturing is the Kanban board. Okay, where you have very simple sticker-like stuff saying that what you need to do in a week, what is there you are currently doing, what is done. Okay, the idea is the throughput, the amount of work that you do. Should know, you can track it, that if it's too much, then it's a bad example of managing a project. So there are there are principles of Kanban, there are lean core principles. These are different methodologies that you is use in agile. Okay, PMI has come up with a certification which encompasses every methodology. There is another certification of Scrum, only focuses on the Scrum methodology. So these are the different methodologies. This is the agile way of working, right? Okay. Compared to this, our traditional methodology has been evolved, okay, and the standards has been designed right from 1990s only, when the software boom happened, and PMI, the PMP, which is a traditional methodology, about a standard framework to adopt. So, for example, in 2018, they have come up with PM Box 6th edition, which talks about hybrid methodology. So they say that you can use agile in a traditional project as well. So the PM Box 6th edition introduces agile as a part of traditional methodology. Okay, and they advocate a hybrid approach. So okay, so let us understand what is this PMP, which is kind of a project life cycle called waterfall. Waterfall means once the water flows, okay, it doesn't come back, right? So that's a waterfall model that you have. Okay, so whereas agile is doing the thing correct, you pick up one feature or a small unit of things, do it correct till the customer accepts that. Okay, so idea of doing things, like one of the principle of agile says that keep it simple, in the sense that most of the products, agile argues that only 10 or 20% of features are used. So people do not use all of the features. So rather than focusing to develop the complete product, pick up the most useful feature and develop that and show that the value of that feature. And if it's accepted, then build other features in the product. So that's where the adaptive nature of agile comes into play. Okay, whereas waterfall has their own kind of advantages. It is project is derived from the word called profane, is actually a Latin word to means plan. So project always means proactive. So planning is very essential. In waterfall, you plan for the entire project or to a sustainable degree, whereas in agile the planning is pretty okay, limited to a sprint perhaps. So where you do not know how to plan because you don't know the scope, agile might be a useful methodology. Whereas in a waterfall, when you know the scope, like for example, building a road, you do exactly have done it before, you know what it takes to build a road, okay, or a building. Okay, that's where you can actually go into a proactive, okay, or a waterfall methodology. Even in software, when you're implementing a product, you exactly know what it takes to implement, say, a ERP or a CRM product. I will rather go with a predictive methodology than an adaptive methodology. Okay, so a predictive methodology is kind of one after the other, sequential. Agile is more adaptive, it's iterative or incremental. Like I said, in Agile, the project team is in authority, okay, whereas in Waterfall, the project manager is the accountable. So in Agile, in the Scrum methodology, there is somebody called a Scrum Master. Okay, you can call him equivalent to the project manager, but the Scrum Master is basically a servant leader, which means that he can provide the necessary stuff for the team to execute at their peak level. Like, for example, infrastructure, if there are issues, resolve that issues, provide a working ground, a good working ground for the team. So there is a lot of different approach. There is a different mindset, okay, which comes with that two methodologies. For example, in waterfall, uh, there is a project manager mindset, more of a controlling, detail oriented mindset. Whereas agile mindset, if it's a scrum master, is more of a servant leadership. So according to me, okay, the concept of project management remains same, whether you do it with agile or waterfall. Okay, even in waterfall, you can do short plannings for a month or 2 weeks as well, and you execute that and you show it. Okay, but what it differs is how you approach the project, and therefore the mindset, I think, becomes important, and mostly that becomes the differentiating factor between agile or waterfall. Right. Right. So I wanted to show one hybrid approach which the PM Box 6 suggests. So a lot of projects today are going for a mix of agile, and that's what the PM Box 6 is suggesting. That it's up to the project manager to choose which life cycle he needs to follow. So in a given project, he may suggest like, okay, there is one which is a predictive. I can plan, I know the scope pretty well. I can go for a traditional methodology. Or if there is some parts where the scope is not clear, okay. For example, in a construction company where you already know how the building should be constructed, etc. But there is some element where you are developing a new kind of gardening or landscaping concept, and you do not know what works and what doesn't work. So you can perhaps adopt a agile approach for that, and use two methodologies in a single project. Okay, so no, you can have that very much for a large project. Okay, so it's not only in software but in a lot of other industries, okay, where people can go, a project manager can go for a traditional as well as agile principle. Like, for example, we just recently did a pharma research generic drug discovery project, and where it takes a long amount of time to do the projects, and generally they used to do a very traditional way of doing things. Okay, but the whole nature of the work was iterative. So we introduced some small methodologies like a Kanban, okay, some things which they can do very easily, and they like that concepts. Okay. And so they did the initial part of the drug discovery with lesser documentation and started doing agile way. But the compliance things in the that pharma industry, they followed the traditional method, because in a compliance project, okay, you need to complete the entire work and submit it. Okay, so if you do that, okay, in agile, if I had avoided the compliance, okay, I would have done it in a lesser time, because okay,
no, I would have avoided the rework, because I would have done small bits, and therefore the testing period would have been lesser. But if I do the entire project, the entire compliance project, I would have discovered a lot of errors after I completed the project. So rework would have been more enough, and that's one of the drawbacks of a large, traditional project. But sometimes you need to, that's a, just because it's one of the other principles of agile, just because there is a regulation required, you need to follow uh, 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 a traditional method. Okay. uh, I always advocate that agile is very difficult to implement, because okay, it's not only one person needs to have a agile mindset. You need to have the entire team, because the project team is accountable. They need to have the agile mindset, and mindsets are not developed within one night. Okay, it takes a long time for transformation. So agile coaches are in demand. Okay, agile is in demand, but to practice agile is not an easy way to do it. So you can start introducing agile slowly and following the hybrid approach. Okay, so this is one of the ways to introduce agiles in organizations. So I'm going to now talk about a case study which I mentioned in one of my papers, okay, 8 years back, and it was actually I had mentioned blended approach or hybrid approach, where I had introduced agile for a traditional project. Okay, so so just to give you a context of the project, okay, is there any questions? Okay, any questions from anyone? Okay, great. Okay. If you have any question, raise your hands and I can happily answer that. Yeah. Okay, cool. Cool. Okay. So let me move forward on this. So this was one of the first ERP implementations, and we had implemented Microsoft Exapta. I was working for Microsoft at that time, and we had done okay. The basically it was digitization of the industries department that we had embarked on. Uh, Not many people at that time were averse with IT. There was, in fact, no IT department in that industry. I am sure now it will be, but it was a mandate from the government of Maharashtra to actually implement and digitize, because they do a lot of work on manual basis, and it's huge work they do. So, for example, a file just to come to head office used to take 45 days, which we did it in kind of 5 minutes because of the ERP. So that's the one of the benefits, and there are lot many benefits that they did. But okay, we obviously started with a traditional approach, and that's how we did. We made like 1,000 activities plan for them, and that's how we started the whole stuff. Um, there were a lot of challenges that we faced. Okay, the stakeholders didn't know how to from their, they were owning the customer people, they didn't know how to execute the IT project. There was no accountability. Nobody was ready to give solutions. In fact, they could not visualize the solution, how it will be at the end of it. If I had not to do with paper, so there were lack of participation. One of the things which this government people told me that okay, we used to construct roads like in the industries department. We are building industries, so they need to build infrastructure around the industries. So when we give a contract for someone to build a road, okay, we exactly know what is the progress of that thing, how it will look, okay, because we can see how the road is built, what is the quality of the road which is going to come, and we can give corrections at the very start of the project. But here you are going to give me something after 3 or 4 months, and I exactly do not know how it's going to be. So I need to be a lot patient. Okay. Um, yeah, there are some things which we could not do and give it to them, but no, we then started, because okay, these people were not doing. We invented a new way. Agile was not really used in India at that point of time. So we, for example, for the portal development, okay, it is a huge portal. We started building one functionality after the other, and we slowly introduced the Scrum way of working for that particular project. So we had some of the modules, okay, we went into the traditional way, and some of the modules we had uh, in the Scrum way. Okay, Antonio, you have a question. Can you type it? I can be happy to answer your question. Yeah, raise your hand, Antonio. Okay. All right. Okay. So, okay. Sorry. So, right. So it's not. Okay. Okay. Sure. So I will proceed ahead. Okay. Uh, So, so for this portal development, so it's a website they used to do a portal, a single window where a lot of the consumers can put their request and grievances. So we started developing one item at a time. So when we started showing them, the feedbacks were instant. Like for example, we said the button should be placed here, the link should be here, what are the services should be there. So people started giving the feedback instantly, and we went into iterations, and that's where people started getting involved in on a very okay actively on this project. And that's where we discovered that agile methodologies very useful for a certain portion. We started using that for the other modules, but that didn't work for the other modules, because if they used to give me a certain requirement, okay, it was very difficult to only customize that and show it to them, because it was very resourceful if I develop the entire module and then show, say, the 10 functionalities to them. So it didn't work in a kind of a ready-made product, but it worked for the website development. So we decided to use both the methodologies in the same project. We called it a show and tell methodology for the Scrum. That's one name we are given now. A lot of people actually use that as well. So this is one of my technical papers which I had written for PMI, and it got selected among 1,000 entries, and I was invited to speak on this blended methodology. I used to call that. Now PMI has called this as a hybrid approach, which says that agile practices can be used in traditional project management. uh, Agile is still a area to be explored. It is something which is developing, generating a lot of demand. There is a lot of curiosity. People are kind of experimenting today, and there are more takers and givers for agile today. So I think the buzz will continue, the growth will continue at least for the next 5 years, and it is up to us whether we can develop that agile mindset and take projects in that. So I believe as we go along, okay, and do projects, because project management is evolving as we do projects, okay. I think both will coexist, and that's how the PMI also has portrayed. Both methodologies will coexist. Both will have its own advantages and disadvantages, and the hybrid approach, according to me, is there to stay for a long time. It's up to us, how to make it work. Okay, depending on the fields that you're working, but both these methodologies are going to stay. Both has its own advantages and own background. Okay, so as a project manager, you need to decide which will work where and which can be used. Okay, so I think a good project manager should be aware of both these tools and techniques. Right. uh, yeah, so any questions so far? Anyone has a question? Because we have around Okay, 45 minutes where we go on a webinar. Okay, and generally, this is somewhere which I put my thoughts on this, and Agile is an exciting field for us. So, any questions, I would be happy to discuss that. Uh, so we at ProThoughts, okay, do some premium courses. We are tied up for PMI SAP with Mike Griffiths, and we are going to initiate that from Jan 2019. And there is absolutely stunning demand for PMI SAP. And then we go for PgMP, where we have collaborated by the one and the only Michel Thierry. We are bringing him from UK to India for that, and we have a Microsoft project that we keep on doing. So we are going with online courses and classrooms as well as e-learning. E-learning is not there in Agile, but yeah, we are slowly going to start that as well. So these are the different things that we do. Okay, we of course have different ebooks, templates, videos. We have talkprojectmanagement.com. So that's where we have a lot of rich content. I think you all should go and peep into the talkprojectmanagement.com, where you will get a lot of news, articles, video blogs, a lot of things which can help you in your project management. We also do a lot of webinars. We have, if you can follow in uh, uh, no uh, so no in LinkedIn, so just follow some Facebook and LinkedIn. You'll get a lot of updates about what we do in project management. Okay. If there are any other queries, write us to info@prothoughts.co.in or call us at this number. We'll be happy to help you all. Okay. Thank you so much, and thank you for your valuable time. Have a very good day, and see you soon. Bye.